Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Cahyaning Nurani. I am from Accounting Major, Mercubuana University. And today I would like to presentate English for Accounting about balance sheet, tax, direct and indirect costs. The first, balance sheet fundamentals. There are historical costs, judgment for some accounts, omit some assets, and omit some liabilities. Historical costs. What is historical cost? Historical costs may be reliable but not relevant. And what is judgment for some accounts? Judgment for some account is management can influence account balance through judgment. What is some asset? Like value of employee knowledge. And what is omit some liabilities like operating leases. And next slide is elements of balance sheet. There are assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity, or uses of resources equal source of resources. There are the elements of balance sheet. There are assets like current asset and fixed asset. And the right part, there are liabilities such as long-term debt and current liabilities. And also owner's equity. There are return earning and capital stock. Next, this is the example of balance sheet. There are assets like current asset and fixed asset, and the right part, there are liabilities and capital. This is the conclusion of the balance sheet. Next is about tax. What is tax? It should be noted that most jurisdictions do not define tax, and that tax should be considered as something different than a levy, which may equally be imposed by a government. There are some common traits observable in all taxes. The first, a tax is compulsory charge, and the second, a tax is imposed by legislation or government. The third, a tax is to be used for a public purpose. And the last, a tax is usually not tied to a specific service to be provided to the individual paying the tax. Principle of taxation. The principle generally expresses the idea that the exercise of public power is only legitimate when lawful. In this sense, it may act as a safety net, and it is not always written down in formal legislation, but may be viewed by implication whenever legislation deals with executive or administrative acts and competence. Who will be taxed? The first, natural persons, and the second, corporate entities, the third, transparent entities, and the fourth, permanent establishment, and the fifth, geographical scope. So what will be taxed? The first, income, the second, wealth, the third, transaction, the fourth, consumption or use, and the fifth, net or gross basic, and the sixth, the influence of accounting principle on tax law. And next, direct and indirect costs. Classification of manufacturing costs. The first, there are direct materials. The second, direct labor, and the third, manufacturing overhead. Direct materials. What is direct materials? Direct materials is a raw materials that become an integral part of the product and that can be conveniently traced directly to it. Example, the flour in the dough. Next, direct labor. What is direct labor? Direct labor is those labor costs that can be easily traced to individual units of product. Example, wages paid to bakers. And manufacturing overhead. What is manufacturing overhead? Manufacturing overhead that cannot be easily traced directly to specific units product. Example, direct materials and indirect labor. Direct materials used to support the production process. Example, lubricants and cleaning supplies to maintain the bakery equipment. Wages paid or indirect labor. Wages paid to employees who are not directly involved in production work. Example, cleanup workers, janitors, and security guards. And the conclusion of direct and indirect labor are a direct cost is a cost which can directly be associated with a particular department or business project or production of goods or service. Direct costs are usually fixed in nature, but they change with the change in the amount of production. Thank you for your attention. The last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.